The poet also stresses how stammer becomes equivalent to one's mother tongue. This is the most commonly seen literary device in the poems that are written in free verse. Other than this, you can see there is a repetition of this word stammer. Prayers, he is asking for something. Commands, he is giving command to somebody. So even when he is asking and even when he is giving, everything actually has different meaning. Hello everyone, I am Dr. Shalini, Professor of English, Vidhyaashram First Grade College, the Temple of Excellence, MYSURU. Today we are here to understand one of the poems, that is Stammer, prescribed by University of Mysuru for 2nd Sem B.C.A. Let us see what is there in today's session. In this session, we will be learning about the poet first, then we will understand the theme of the poem. We will also understand the summary. At last, we will move on to the literary devices. So let us begin our session today. The introduction of the poet. So he is Sachidananda, the poet of this poem Stammer. So he was an Indian poet. He used to write in Malayalam as well as English. He has translated many works to English also. He is the pioneer of modern poetry in Malayalam, he can be told like that. So he was a bilingual literary critic, he was a playwright, he was a columnist, a translator, an editor, all in all. So he has played so many roles in the society. He has been awarded many a times with this Sahitya Academy Awards, and also various other awards have been conferred on him. So let us go and let us now understand the theme of this poem. So in this poem, the poet talks about he enlightens the readers about how imperfections can affect their life. So how all facets of life are linked with these imperfections and how they affect them. He also tells about the literature or language that is affected by this stammer. The poet also stresses how stammer becomes equivalent to one's mother tongue. Means the stammer not only is confined to any other language or any other facet of life, but it is concerned also with the mother tongue. So that is what he talks about in this poem Stammer. Let us just understand the summary. So we'll understand it by stanza. So these two stanzas I've just combined because the first stanza is very small. A stammer is no handicap, it's a mode of speech. A stammer is the silence that falls between the word and its meaning. Just as lameness is the silence that falls between the word and the deed. So now you can see he starts with the definition of stammer. So a stammer is no handicap. It is not a handicap thing. Okay, it is actually a mode of speech. That is also way in which somebody communicates with some other person who is listening to him. A stammer is silence that falls between the word and its meaning. So here you can understand stammer is something that comes in between the word as well as its meaning. Somebody who is speaking, he stops speaking, and the other person who understands will have various other understandings. So the meaning that the person is delivering, the person who is stammering and giving the meaning, so it is something different. As he stammers, the meaning is something else. You may feel that the person who is stammering, you do not consider that as a handicap. You may consider that the person is nervous, the person does not know the content what he is talking about, or maybe he doesn't have a hold over language. So there are various meanings that come when a person stammers. So here the poet talks about that. Just as lameness is the silence that falls between the word and the deed. So here you can see the poet talks about the lameness. Lameness is a kind of silence that comes between the word and the deed. So while speaking and working, there is some stationary thing there is a no work kind of situation that is created. So that actually gives so many meanings. So one such meaning can be lameness. So here lameness comes in between the word and the deed, and this is a kind of silence. So he compares the action of life to that of the speech. Okay, that silence to stammer. He compares like this. That means he is trying to compare the stammer with that of life. So this is what the poet says in the first two stanzas. Next, we'll continue with the next three stanzas. Did the stammer precede language or succeed it? Is it only a dialect or language itself? These questions make linguists stammer. Each time we stammer, we are offering a sacrifice to the god of meanings. When a whole people stammer, stammer becomes their mother tongue, as it is with us now. So here he tries to relate it to life. Okay, so here you can see in the first stanza here, you can see he has lot of doubts. So what is it? He's talking with a linguist's point of view. He is a linguist, so he talks with a linguist's point of view here. So did the stammer precede the language or succeed? It means, did stammer come first or it came later? It came after the language came, is what he is asking. Is it only a dialect? Dialect is something wherein it develops from the original language. Okay, so is stammer a dialect or is it a language by itself? Is stammering itself a language or is it a dialect? Means if you consider language as something that is used for communication, is stammering a part of it? He is asking, is it a deviation from the language or is stammering only a language and is language a deviation from it, is what he is asking over here. So these questions make linguists stammer. So when the poet asks these questions, linguists actually start stammering because they don't know, they cannot comprehend, they cannot give an answer for this. So the linguists actually stammer over here. Each time we stammer, we are offering a sacrifice to the god of meanings. Here it is there is an imaginary god he has, that is the poet has. Here he means to say we are offering a sacrifice whenever we stammer. Okay, we are offering a sacrifice means we are making that god great. Okay, we are making everybody feel that god is great. So god of meanings is there and we are offering a sacrifice for that. That means that moment we are not speaking anything. That means we are treating that god as great only. When a whole people stammer, stammer becomes their mother tongue, as it is for us now. So here there are very few people who stammer. Okay, when you compare to people who speak very well, there are other people who stammer. So when lot of people stammer, means he's talking about a group of people. When a whole people stammer, so he's talking about a group of people who stammer. So that time stammer itself becomes a mother tongue. Okay, stammering itself becomes a mother tongue, that itself becomes a language. And now, however, what we are doing now, we stammer at times, right? So many people who do not have hold over language, or maybe they are not clear about the content. So like this, whenever few people they stammer, and the number of that few people is large, so that time that itself becomes a language. So that itself becomes a mother tongue, is what the poet says. Now you can observe the other aspects also. In the previous stanza and this stanza, you could observe there is no rhyme scheme at all. Okay, there are no rhyming words at all. That means this poem is written in free verse. This poem is written in free verse. Then you can see the sentence ends somewhere in between. The sentence ends somewhere in between. It starts from the middle. The next sentence starts from here. So this literary device usually seen in the poems written in free verse is called as enjambment. Okay, this is the most commonly seen literary device in the poems that are written in free verse. Other than this, you can see there is a repetition of this word stammer. Fine, this is written in two different sentences. So this literary device is called as anaphora. Repetition of words in different lines is called as anaphora. Had that been repeated in the same line, then it would have been repetition only. Okay, so now there are lot of words, a lot of sounds that are repeated also. Okay, so each time we stammer, we are offering. So here you can see r sound is being repeated. Okay, r is r is a consonant. Okay, so repetition of consonants, consonant sound, it is called as consonants. So this literary device also you can see. And there is a repetition of vowel sounds also, that is called as assonance. So repetition of vowel sounds, this is repetition of consonant sounds. Other than this, you can see in many places it is like, suppose you can see over here, it is with us. So E sound is repeated in the beginning, and this is called as alliteration. Repetition of same sound in the beginning. This is repetition of this one consonant sound in the middle, repetition of vowel sound in the middle, but this is repetition of any sound in the beginning of the word, that is alliteration. Okay, this also is repetition, but it is the repetition of the whole word. Okay, so these are the literary devices that you can observe in this poem. Let us move on to the next stanza. God too must have stammered when he created man. That is why all the words of man carry different meanings. That is why everything he utters, from his prayers to commands, stammers like poetry. Now you can see he has compared the stammering to God also. He is comparing the human's life to he is comparing human's life to stammering. So here God too must have stammered when he created man. So God, while creating man, must have stammered. So that is the reason all the words of man, so whatever words man speaks, so everything carry different meanings. Each and every word which he speaks actually carries different meaning. That is because God only must have stammered during the creation. And here, that is why everything he utters from his prayers. So here he talks about man, what man does. So from prayers to his commands, whatever he does, prayers to commands means prayers he is asking for something, commands he is giving command to somebody. So even when he is asking and even when he is giving, everything actually has different meanings. So whenever he stammers, so there, like poetry, everywhere it has different meanings. So here you can see, so poetry you need to understand, you need to read in between the lines and you have to understand that. So here also, when God has created man, he has stammered. That's why each and every word of man is carrying different meanings, like poetry only. Here the person who is listening has to read in between lines. That means he has to go deep into the words of the man who is speaking and he has to understand it properly, is what the poet is trying to say. So the life of humans is compared to stammering. How the deeds of man, how the words of man have different meanings is compared to how the meaning changes when somebody stammers. So this is the comparison done by the poet Sachidanand. So we have other literary devices also, we saw few literary devices in the previous three stanzas. Other than this, we have three more literary devices. One is simile. So simile is nothing but a comparison by using the words as and like. Okay, so here you can see, just a lameness is the silence. So that is what he is saying. Whole people stammer becomes their mother tongue as it is with us now. So he uses the word as over here. He utters from his prayers to his commands like poetry. So the use of words like as and like show that the literary device that is used is simile over there. Simile is nothing but comparison. Metaphor also is comparison. Fine, metaphor is also comparison, but here stammer is a metaphor that refers to the imperfections what we have. Okay, imperfections what we have on earth, and also the imperfections only make us exist. Because of these imperfections only we are learning lot of things. Because one person stammers, he is making others to learn. He is also learning lot of things, how other people interpret his words. In the same way, in life also we may have lot of imperfections, like we stammer in life. Okay, so like that only, because of those imperfections only we are learning lot of things in life. We are able to make other people also understand lot of things. So this is a metaphor what we are talking about. So simile and metaphor both are there in this poem. Apart from this, we have repetition. As I told in the previous slide, the word stammer is repeated several times in this poem. So in the same line also it is repeated, in the different lines also it is repeated. So repetition as well as anaphora, that is repetition in different lines. So all these are there in this poem. So what I suggest you, please read the poem. It acts like a guide for you to understand the poem. So read the poem, go through the poem also. It is very easy. As you read, you will be able to understand. Okay, so any doubts I'm always there to clear your doubts in the class. Okay, so let us meet again with another more interesting poem, children. Let us meet shortly. Take care. Thank you for your time. Keep learning. Bye-bye.